Hello Year 5 and welcome to your second reading skills lesson this week where we're looking at the text The Mayan Creation Story. If you haven't read the text for yourself yet or missed yesterday's lesson, go back and play the video where I read the text to you, or you can download the text from the Teams app in files at Mayan Creation Story, and you can have a read of the text yourself. All the questions are there for the whole week as well. So today we're going to have a look at how we answer and explain a question. I'm going to read a little bit of the text to you and then model how we do that. There are some other questions in there as well. Let's just remind ourselves what VIPERS stands for. See if you can say the word before I do. V stands for vocabulary. I stands for inference. P stands for predict. E stands for explain. R stands for retrieval. And S stands for summarize or sequence. Okay, we're going to have a look at this part of the text today where the creators, Tipu and Gukamat, sent the great flood. The second race of men were made from solid wood. These men were much stronger and were able to walk and talk, but these men had no minds of their own and their hearts were empty. They had no memory of their creation, and when they spoke aloud, their words were empty and meaningless. They were still unable to praise the gods. So remember that Tipu and Gukamat are trying to make a race of men that will worship them. So this is their second attempt. At the first attempt, the men were made of clay and they were just crumbled apart. And these men made of wood are just a bit too strong but don't really understand anything, and that their hearts are empty. So Tipu and Gukamat sent a great flood to destroy them all. The gods demanded that the animals attack any remaining survivors, but a few managed to escape and became monkeys. The creators let them be as an example to the future race of men. Okay, the question we're going to have a look at today, which is very similar to one that you'll do independently, is do you think the creators were right to send a great flood? Explain your answer. Now, reading skills is a bit funny because, yes, that is asking your opinion, but your opinion won't get a mark unless you back it up with a reason from the text. So I'm just going to demonstrate how we do that. So I'm going to read the question again. Do you think the creators were right to send a great flood? Explain your answer. So I've got two model answers here. One, I've said yes, I think they were right to send the flood. And the other, I think, no, they weren't right to send the flood. Because remember, you need to make a decision and then back it up. You only need to do one opinion. However, if you believe both, like yes and no, as long as you back it up, that's fine. So I said, I think the creators were right to send a great flood because they were trying to create a perfect race, and the men made of wood had no mind and their hearts were empty. So my opinion is, do you know what? This story is all about creating the world and creating a race of people to live on the world, because it's how the Mayans believe the world came. And Tipu and Gukamat are trying to create something perfect, and they got it wrong. And they decided to start again and wipe it fresh. So I can kind of understand why they did it. And I've backed up my reason by saying the men weren't right. The men of wood had no minds and their hearts were empty. They're just trying to start again. Or I could say, I think the creators were wrong to send a great flood because it would have destroyed everything they'd already created. They could have changed the woodmen rather than destroyed them. So I know from the text that they'd already created trees, great trees, and all those animals. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, if they've sent a great flood, then lots of the things they've already done are going to be destroyed. Okay, these are your questions today. I think there's 6 questions. So they're vocabulary, explain, and summarize. So the first one is use a dictionary to find the meaning of the word void in this context. So you could Google it if you need to. Summarise the contents of the first 3 paragraphs of this text. So that's a summarise question. So go back to the text, which is in files on Teams, have a look at the text and summarise the first 3 parts of it, or you can have a look at yesterday's video. How did the gods destroy the second race of men? So have a think about how they destroyed the second race of men, which was in that little bit we read. Why were the gods immediately pleased with the corn men? Again, you're going to have to look back at the original text. So you can either look at yesterday's video or you can look at the PDF on Teams. Do you think the gods were right to remove some of the first corn men's vision? Explain your answer. So this is very similar to the question I've done, where did we think the creators were right to send the flood? Well, this is, do you think the gods were right to remove some of the first corn men's vision? So if you think, yes, I think they were right to, see if you can explain why, backing up your reason from the text. And if you think no, see if you can explain why, backing up your reasons from the text. And the last question is, what is the meaning of the word companions from the text? So again, have a little look back, see if you can find the word companions and tell me the meaning. Okay, I'm going to go through the answers now. Okay, void means a completely empty space. Well done if you got that one right, give it a tick. Summarise the context of the first 3 paragraphs. The Mayan gods Tipu and Gukamatz created the earth from nothing by simply thinking it into being. So basically, when they thought of something, it just happened. It just was created. So if you've said something along those lines, well done. How did they destroy the second race of men? They sent that great flood. Why were the gods immediately pleased with the corn men? Because they were strong enough to last and their minds were full of thoughts and feelings. They began to worship the gods straight away. Do you think the gods were right to remove some of the first corn men's vision? Explain your answer. So that one's a personal response. So you could have said yes, because they could see too much and they might have threatened the creators, as in the creators felt a little bit like they were too good and they might become too strong. Or you could say, no, you didn't think it was right, because actually they could still have just worshipped the men, and you'd have to explain a bit more why there. What is the meaning of the word companions from the text? Companion means a friend, so someone who spends a lot of time with somebody else. Well done if you got those right. I'm going to end today's reading skills lesson with another quote. This is a Disney quote. There is more treasure in books than in all the pirates' loot on Treasure Island. Have a fantastic day, Year 5, and keep reading.